All right, hello everyone. We had a couple people asking about how to use Garage61 to analyze their own laps, but then also just how to use it generally. So it's just going to give a quick rundown of the most important features of the tool for those of you that might not have used this before. Everybody's joined into the team successfully, so you got that part done. Now just in terms of how you can load up your own lap to do some analysis for yourself, or how to look at the group analysis files that are sent out by the coaches. I'm just going to run you through some basic tips for how to best use the tool. So first thing, especially when you're analyzing a GT4 lap at one of the Chasing the Delta tracks, I would say best thing to do is to head to the next week's lap guide channel. That is, first of all, going to have the track guide that Aaron's posted. Highly recommend watching that and trying to implement everything that he mentions in there to try and get your best lap that you can before you dig into the telemetry analysis. The best time, in my opinion, to start digging into telemetry analysis is when you hit a wall in your pace. So once you feel like you've gotten the most you can out of the car, with the other tools available like the lap analysis, talking to other members, running your own practice, things like that, and you feel like you've hit a wall, that's going to be the best time to open up the telemetry and see where you can start gaining some more time. So, um, first thing that I would recommend doing is opening up the reference lap posted by Aaron here. So I'm going to click that link. It'll open up here. And this is going to be useful in just a second, but we have to get an analysis created first where you can copy this lap into. So I've got another tab open with Garage61 here. This window here is called the driver profile window. If you're not able to get to this when you open up Garage61, it's really easy. You just click the drop down next to your name up here, and from this drop down menu, click My Driver Profile. It'll open this up, and the tab that we want to look for is called Activity, and this will show all of the recent car and track combos that you've run. So um, I have not personally put in any laps on the GT4 yet this week on Red Bull Ring, so I'm going to have to pick on one of our members and use them for an example here. But just pretend this is your own driver profile activity. Expand the list of sessions that you've been in with a particular car and track combo. Those will be listed as events here. So this is all NASCAR stuff, but from here you would select the practice session where you ran the fastest lap that you wanted to analyze, and it'll show you all your laps here. So for the sake of example, let's go grab one of Kerry's laps. Sorry, Kerry, you're going to be our example today. To get to his lap, since we're all on the Chasing the Delta team, we're going to first head to Teams up at the top here. And you can do this if you want to compare your own lap with somebody else's that's maybe more close to you, or if you want to try your own group analysis. This is a good way to get access to everybody's laps on the team. Hit Chasing the Delta. We're going to go to the Members tab, and again I'm going to be picking on Carrie, so let's select Carrie from the members list. Now this is a driver profile screen. It's the exact same screen that we were just at, but for Carrie. So we're going to head to Activity and pretend this was closed. I can see that his recent activity says Porsche Cayman at Red Bull Ring. So I'm going to expand this, and we're going to grab a lap from the group practice that we just had. That's going to be this practice session here. So for this screen is useful for many different things. It shows you the fuel used per lap. It shows you which laps you had the fastest sector. It shows you which ones you had off tracks on, which setup you were using here, all kinds of good information on this screen. Um, Optimal lap, average clean lap, how many were run, how many laps were clean. All of that stuff's good to know, but probably stuff that you can worry about a little bit down the road. Um, if you're just wanting to come in and analyze your own fastest lap from a recent practice session, you're going to scroll down until you see this purple highlighted lap. Purple is always going to be the fastest clean lap of the session, and we are going to open it by clicking this Analyze button. Okay, so we will click Analyze. It'll open this window, Create a New Analysis. We're going to press Create a New Analysis. Up here, it'll give the option to rename it, and I always recommend doing that first just to stay organized. Analysis name, carry, Red Bull Ring, example analysis, just for the sake of having something in there. And then people with access, if you want to add the entire team, you can click Add Team and click the Chasing the Delta box. Allow making changes to this analysis. That'll be up to you whether you want to allow other people to give notes or not. If you're submitting a review to the coaches, you will need to check this box so we can add notes to your analysis. But just pretend you wanted to send something to that only the coaches will have access to. Just for example, you can go Add Person and you can search up Aaron Myers, Keith Gwinup, like that. It'll add specific members and allow making changes to this analysis. Apply. That's important if you want others to be able to view what you're doing. If you're just doing this for your own benefit, don't worry about that. Then click Apply. So from here, we want to add in, you've got Carrie's lap here, the 138.1. You want to add in another lap that you can basically analyze the differences between. So in that case, we are going to want to, sorry, got a little ahead of myself. What did I do here? Okay. Forget that little hiccup. We're going to go back to the tab that's got Aaron's lap here. Okay. So again, this is how I got to it, by clicking this link that's posted here. Click that same gear to open it up, and then all the way to the right of this lap, it says Copy Lap to Clipboard. So we're going to copy the lap to the clipboard. It says Done. Use the Paste Lap button in another analysis to incorporate this lap. Perfect. That's what we're about to do. If this is your first time doing this, it'll probably give you a pop-up window asking to allow Garage61 access to your clipboard. You will have to either press OK or Allow on that option to basically allow Garage61 to copy this lap ID to your clipboard, which we'll then paste over here. So I'm back on the other tab now with Carrie's or My Lap or Your Lap if you're using this to analyze against Aaron's against your own. You can see the name here, Carrie RBR example. So to paste the lap in, we're going to go to this gear and simply click Paste Lap. There's a big button for it right here. So we'll paste it in. Garage61 is asking you to see text and images copied to the clipboard. That's that prompt that you'll get. It might look a little different on different browsers, but you'll get something similar. I'm going to allow it. And now we can see Aaron's lap has populated here underneath Carrie's. Before we get into the analysis, just a couple things I wanted to mention about this screen. I personally like having the fastest lap on top. So to reorder these laps, you can grab this little 8 dots icon. You can see the cursor changes when you're over it. Left click and drag to reorder the laps. I prefer it that way. It's totally personal preference though. You can have it ordered however you like. But if you do it that way, you can also hide a given lap temporarily. If you wanted to come into this screen, click the eyeball, hide it. You can also delete a lap if you accidentally pasted one that you don't want. There's a bunch of different ways to do this. You can also add additional laps by hitting Add Laps here. Then you have to search through the driver and the lap to find it. I find it easier just to go to that specific lap in a different tab and copy it. So once this is all set up, I first want to get the analysis going. Then I'll show you a little tip I have about the colors. But we can click Analyze Selected Laps, and now both of these laps will be loaded into the Garage61 analysis screen. You can see that as you zoom in, the blue line is Carrie's, the red line is Aaron's, and you can see the difference in driving line. And then the big scary graphics on the side are very intimidating at first, I will say, but once you get the hang of looking at them and reading them, they'll become a lot more intuitive. So just quickly to run through them, the top graph here is going to be speed, very simple, how much speed the car is carrying at any given time. As you move left and right on the graph, you can see the dot that represents the cars is actually moving on track as well. So you can see the lowest point in the speed graph is the apex of the corner. Next graph is going to be throttle. Bottom of the graph is 0% throttle. Top of the graph is 100%. Brake works exactly the same way. The higher the line, the more brake pressure that's being applied. The gears graph works a little bit differently. Every one of these steps, these stair steps, will correspond to a specific gear in the transmission of the car, and those gears are listed over here to the left. So right here at this point, both cars are in third gear. Here everybody shifts up to fourth and up to fifth. Then finally at the bottom we have the steering wheel angle. Down on the graph represents steering to the right. Left on the graph represents steering to the left, or sorry, excuse me, up on the graph represents steering to the left. So that way you can see if maybe you're using not enough steering angle or more steering angle. Like for example, down here you can see the blue line goes way further down than the red. So in this particular case, Carrie is using more steering angle than Aaron. Again, not picking on you, Carrie. You just are our example today. Thanks for being a good sport. This graph at the bottom of the track map here represents the time delta. So throughout the track, you can see that the difference between the laps is growing, and you can see where you're losing or gaining the most time. So by turn 1, Carrie is 0.258 seconds slower, and you can follow that progress throughout the course of the lap. This is the main reason that I like having the fast lap on top, by the way. Some people like to look at it the other way. It's totally up to you. These S1, S2, and S3 buttons at the bottom will just highlight specific sectors on the track in sort of a blue color. Hopefully that shows up okay. And as you highlight different sectors, it will highlight them in blue. This is the tip that I wanted to mention about the colors. Sometimes, maybe it's my eyes, sometimes I have a hard time seeing the blue line against the highlighted sector track map. So what I often like to do is go into this gear next to laps, select this color box, and make it something obnoxious that's really easy to see, like bright green. Analyze selected laps, and that makes it a little bit easier. There's more contrast with the green lap against the blue highlight. So that's the basics of setting up a telemetry analysis itself. When it comes to analyzing it and giving notes, there's a lot to be said there, and the coaches are happy to help you with specifics. But when you're first getting used to this, I would say the best thing you can do is just pick a sector and look for the biggest difference between the lines. Like here is an obvious difference in the steering angle between the green and the red line. And once you identify a difference, try to think to yourself what that means. Try to connect it to an action on track or an effect that that input difference will have on the car. Now, This is a right-hand corner, turn 1, and I see a big spike to the left in Kerry's steering. So what that tells me is that he had a very nice catch on some oversteer here, where his car was turning too much to the right, and he had to move his steering wheel to the left to catch it and keep from spinning out. So at the beginning, that's what I would focus on doing, trying to connect these big differences in inputs to mentally try to picture what that would do to the car. You know, for example, here, Kerry has a little bit more brake, but they really trail off at the same time. I mean, it's actually very similar. So I would say that the brake marker is good, the pressure is very close, but for some reason you can see that Kerry is getting out of the, or he's dropping down lower in speed compared to Aaron coming out of turn 1 going down to turn 2 and 3. What would cause that difference in speed? Well, if we look down the graph, that drop in speed is exactly where Kerry had to catch the car. So to get yourself used to reading this stuff, just look for those differences and try to identify what that correlates to in terms of car behavior, inputs, all of that kind of a thing. You can get deeper into the analysis once you get comfortable with this screen as a whole first. So to do that, what I would recommend doing is adding some notes yourself. And this will also help you with reading notes that are given by the coaches when we publish lap reviews. So this is the point on track when Kerry had to catch the car right here. So I have my mouse over that point in the track on the map itself. I'm going to left click. That'll add a note. So I'm simply going to add a note of what I'm seeing. Drop in speed due to a catch caused by oversteer. Okay. You can choose different styles of markers that you want to mark the track with, I suppose. But for the most part, you're going to be using this blue info one. Then you add it, and it appears as a note both on the track map, this one dot, and over here under the notes section. So drop in speed, that's exactly what we just typed. So you can go through the whole track, sector by sector, corner by corner. You can highlight specific parts of the track as well by left clicking and dragging this way, so it'll zoom into certain parts of the track if you need to. I use the mouse wheel a lot to come in, zoom in close, and look at the difference in driving lines. That's pretty much it in terms of basic navigation and setup. The only other thing that I want to say is when you do want to share this to somebody, whether it be the coaches or something along those lines, you can highlight the entire URL and just copy and paste it into a message or a Discord post. That is the basics. If there's any other lingering questions, please feel free to let us know and we'll help you out. But this should get you started. So thanks for watching, and see you guys all out on track soon.